Folks, I hate to start my channel off this way, but this particular news story has been on my YouTube timeline, and I've been bombarded with countless videos on it, and I decided to just weigh in on this particular story and whatnot, because I'm pretty much, big on Las Vegas. I mean, obviously this channel is called Soul Vegas for a reason, because we captured the heart and soul of Vegas through its sights, sounds, and the people of Sin City. And when I think about this particular news item that happened not too long ago, it kind of, just shocks me and, leaves my mouth dropping to the ground and whatnot. It's like one of them cartoon characters. And, it involves two YouTube content creators. Now, speaking of YouTube content creators, before I decided to do this video, I wanted to see what some Las Vegas content creators I do follow had to say about it. And so far, none of them really chimed in yet. I mean, I didn't really hear from Jacob's Life in Vegas. I didn't really hear from Not Leaving Las Vegas. But seeing as he kind of acts on the paranoid side, I can see why he didn't openly have anything to say about this yet. I didn't really see Norma Jelly chime in on it, but I mean, some of the people that do, them lighthearted Vegas videos, they ain't gonna really touch this story. But there was one person who did, and that was Vegas Paradise. I think that's the name of his channel. Vegas Paradise touched on it, and I'm gonna leave a link in the description box so you can watch what he had to say on it. And I was thinking whether I was gonna say something on it, but something, I said, what the hell? Let me just say my piece on it, and let it, and let the chips fall where they may, so to speak. So here it goes. I think it's pretty tragic that you have like a conflict between two content creators that escalated to the point where two people lost their lives, and one person supposedly his life is over because he unalived two people on camera. So chances are he's not gonna see free air ever, really. And he had the audacity to say that, it was self-defense, when he was on camera and he deliberately pulled out his piece and took them out. It wasn't a provoked thing. He took it out and intentionally did that. And plus, there was a earlier video where he said he was looking for the two victims in question. So where does the self-defense thing come in? I don't know, and I'm not sure what he's thinking, but I do know that he turned himself in. And another thing is that I don't know how this particular conflict started. I mean, I heard different versions of how it originated, but I'm not sure which one is the truth or what's accurate and what's not. So, but I do know that there was another way this could have been handled. And I just think that, if one person pretty much was tired of the other, they could have just hit the block button and gone about their way. But it just seems like what we had here was a case of egos. One person had a very fragile ego, one person had an inflated ego. And when you have those two egos mixed in one glass, you get a very toxic combination. And we've seen the results of this, really. I mean, could you imagine losing two of your loved ones on camera? Could you imagine being present when you seen somebody just pull out a piece and murk two people right in front of you? Could you imagine you watching a live stream at the comfort of your own home or on your mobile device and you see two people lose their lives like that? I couldn't imagine that. I'm not sure what that dude was thinking. I'm not sure what the two people were thinking that, were doing the live stream and everything. I guess they thought, well, something, he's not going to do anything stupid here. We're on the strip. We're by the Bellagio. We're safe. And they were wrong. It is just very tragic. But here's the thing, about Las Vegas. And I like Las Vegas. I've been going to Las Vegas constantly since 2015 and everything. Las Vegas is like a second home to me. And one of the things I noticed about Las Vegas is it's not a big city. Because when you think about it, you have the strip, and then after the strip, you have the desert. And that's not counting the surrounding towns that encompass, Clark County and everything like Henderson and Enterprise. And I can't think of the names of the other places. But when you think about it, it's a very small place. So does it really make sense that since you're living in a small city, so to speak, to beef with somebody that you're more than likely going to run into at the gas station, at a restaurant, or at a casino? And it isn't like you can be with your boys all the time and whatnot. You two are going to run into each other. And if you're not going to run into that person, you're going to run into somebody that's affiliated with that person, whether it be relatives of that content creator or friends of that content creator or even fans of that very content creator. So the thing is, you really have to, put your thinking cap on and be like, geez, is this all worth it? And if you are going to go there, chances are that, something, you're gonna have to stand by your words. And I'm not really, endorsing or, glorifying somebody doing something drastic like that. But if you're going to really go there with it, then you're going to have to be prepared to, defend and stand up for what you said on there. Be that as it may, my recommendation with all this here and going forward for other, aspiring content creators and everything is be mindful of what you say on here, especially if you and that other content creator that you may have differences with lives in the same city or within the same radius. Because at the end of the day, you really don't know what that person is capable of, and you really don't know who's behind that particular person, really. So it's best, it's best that when you do these type of videos and whatnot, that you pretty much, just be on your P's and Q's and, be mindful of what you say and whom you say it to, really. Because Vegas isn't New York, it's not LA. You're bound to run into that person that you have beef with, and then when you run into them, you're going to have to be prepared to really, be about what you said on your YouTube videos. And again, I'm not condoning drastic measures and all that other stuff, but if you're going to be about that, then you're going to have to really be about what you said in those videos. But anyway, you know something? My condolences go out to the loved ones of Finny and Bubbly here. It's a very tragic circumstances to, do a live stream in the strip and everything, and to lose your life like that. So be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen. Before I go, I just want to add an update. So, Manny Ruiz was denied bail. It doesn't come as a shock because what he did is public safety risk. He discharged his firearm in front of a crowd of people. So that wouldn't be a good move to grant this person bail, because if he unalived two people, who knows what he can do next. So kudos to the judge and denying Sin City Manny bail. Also, the prosecutor on the local news, he stated that Mr. Ruiz's claims of self-defense are without any merit. I mean, it's clear as day that, when he was driving around and when he did the actual act, what he intended to do. So there really is no self-defense, because he went deliberately to seek those two people out and do what he did to them. So if I was Manny, I would just, holler at the prosecutor, see what he's offering, and just be content with spending the rest of my days behind bars and thanking my lucky stars that I'm not on death row. Because be that as it may, Manny is going to have to get used to eating out of them tiny fruit cups, eating dried up potatoes, barely edible veggies, eating meat that tastes like rubber, cold ass gravy. Yeah, he's going to have to get used to eating meals that you wouldn't want to feed your dog. He's going to have to get used to the fact that he's never going to make love to a woman ever again. He's going to have to get used to the fact that he's never going to be able to hug his kids, walk his dog, drive his car, eat whatever he likes, whatever he do whatever he enjoys. All the things that most mere mortals take for granted, that's taken away from him for good. And for what? Copyright strikes? There could have been like I said, there could have been another way he could have handled this situation, but he was too far gone to really be reasoned with, and this is the result of that. But chances are, whoever represents Manny, they're probably gonna try to go for the not guilty by reason of mental defect, but I don't think that's gonna wash, because the defense is going to have to prove a history of mental health issues. The prosecution is going to have their own psychologist to see what kind of state Manny was in. But chances are, since he was aware of what he done and who he done it to, that defense isn't going to wash. So like I said, Manny should just, holler at the prosecutor, find out what deal he's offering, and just call it a day and not waste any taxpayer money. So that's just my closing thoughts on it. Post your comments in the comment box. This is Soul Vegas.